Pastors don't ignore financial discipleship because they don't care. Usually, they just don't know where to start. The enemy loves when the church stays silent on financial wisdom. When churches don't provide biblical wisdom on money, where do you think your people are getting their financial advice? In TikTok? YouTube? Worldly financial advisors? Tax professionals who discourage giving? Over 5 years ago, a pastor in the Bay Area admitted to me, he said, I know many of our people are struggling financially, but I just don't have the bandwidth to take on another project. He was a great pastor and financial health mattered to him, but it kept getting pushed down his priority list. There are always more urgent needs, other fires to put out. So financial health wasn't even in his top 5, maybe not even his top 10. He fell victim to the tyranny of the urgent. Maybe you can relate to that. Pastors don't ignore financial discipleship because they don't care. Usually, they just don't know where to start. In the past, he explained he had an elder that ran the Dave Ramsey class, a 9-week course, 2 hours a night with homework, and they saw some good results from that. But after COVID, they learned that multi-week commitments are very tough for their people, let alone 9 weeks straight. So he tried a fresh new format. He didn't ask anyone to commit to a long-term program. Instead, he hosted a 90-minute financial wisdom workshop on a Sunday afternoon. Right after service at the church, childcare provided. I mean, people didn't even need to move their car. Make it easy on people, right? Like so much of ministry, it's meet people where they are. That afternoon, the room was packed with families and young professionals and retirees. We talked about budgeting and retirement and college planning and even generosity. It was super fun, and it was exactly the doable financial program that the pastor was looking for. The pastor shared with me after. He said, this really gave our people the practical help they've been asking for. He said, I love teaching, and this pastor sure loved to teach. He was actually notorious for long sermons. But he said it's always good to hear from different voices, especially lay volunteers who do this for the day job. That really made it real for our people. After witnessing that impact, the pastor committed to running the Financial Wisdom Workshop twice a year, every spring and fall like clockwork, just as consistently as their Alpha course and their Marriage course. It's now a core rhythm to equip their people financially, and the pastor no longer has the guilt that the church isn't doing enough to help. If you want to explore if your people are ready for something like this, download this free resource, 7 Signs Your People Are Craving Financial Wisdom, at pastorsfinancialtoolkit.com/5. The other unique thing that pastors appreciate about the Financial Wisdom Workshop is that it has both the practical equipping part and the generosity challenge part. One pastor told me, he said, you hook them with the practical help, and then you lightly challenge them to examine their own giving. So I don't think it's quite a bait and switch like that, but both parts are present, the practical and the spiritual, and frankly, I think that's healthy. We learned that financial wisdom cannot be about theory. It has to be real stories and practical solutions that work in our own location. So when my wife and I share our own giving story with some of our specifics, it opens the door for real conversations because no one can debate a story, right? And so we talk about not just tithing, but offerings on top of that. And when people hear real life generosity stories that are descriptive, not prescriptive, so we're not telling them what to do, we're just sharing what we have done, they start to imagine what adventure God might be inviting them to. And it's pretty cool. And of course, we don't share that to brag. And my wife and I are both very aware of how that could come across. And trust me, we are not trying to let our left hand know what our right hand is doing. But Jesus also talked about this letting your light shine part, and we're called to spur one another on. And we feel that sharing our generosity story is part of that calling. Recently, a doctor came up after one of our financial wisdom workshops. She's a single gal in her early 50s with a high income, and she was fairly generous, but not as intentional as she'd like. And it was really cool because she stayed after and she shared how she felt like the Spirit's been impressing on her to make a pretty radical giving commitment. And this was the next step for her. A year later, she's one of the most joyful, generous givers I've ever met, and her story reminds people that God is still working, and biblical generosity isn't about guilt, it's about freedom. You too can inspire generosity with real stories like this. So make sure you download that free resource, 7 Signs Your People Are Craving Financial Wisdom. It's at pastorsfinancialtoolkit.com/5. The Financial Wisdom Workshop is not just for people who are struggling. It's really for everyone, for lower class folks and middle class folks and upper class folks. Whether someone is trying to get out of debt or stewarding millions of dollars in multiple businesses, there's biblical guidance that they're frankly not getting anywhere else. I'm always amazed at what happens during the Q&A portion of the workshop, where people raise their hands to ask their most burning financial questions publicly. I mean, sometimes there's well over 100 people in the room. And I've had people willingly admit publicly to having over $300,000 of credit card debt and student loan debt. And I've had people share about they have a $3 or $4 million investment portfolio. And that kind of willing vulnerability where they're opting in to publicly share this tells me two things. Number one, people have more resources than you think. And until you know, you really don't know. And we all have assumptions about people's capacity, but we don't really know. And number two, they are looking to the church for guidance. Because when churches don't provide biblical wisdom on money, where do you think your people are getting their financial advice? In TikTok? YouTube? Worldly financial advisors who don't share our faith? Tax professionals who discourage giving? I mean, I believe that the enemy loves when the church stays silent on financial wisdom, when God's people remain unequipped and frankly anxious financially. But the good news is we can fix that. And pastors love it. Every financial wisdom workshop that I've been a part of has gone swimmingly well. In the last 15 years, I've been blessed to have spoken in over 175 different churches, and I can honestly say that not once has a pastor shared with me that they regretted offering this to their people. I mean, it's a total slam dunk. If you do not offer something similar to a financial wisdom workshop, it's a total no-brainer to equip your people well. And it's not because I'm a particularly charismatic speaker. They just love that someone else is talking about money. Someone who doesn't work for the church, has no financial skin in the game, and they love being able to both equip their people and inspire generosity at the same time. I mean, talk about killing two birds with one stone. We created a free resource called 7 Signs Your People Are Craving Financial Wisdom. It'll help you discern if now is the right time for a workshop, and it includes best practices on timing and messaging. Spoiler alert, many churches will see themselves in all 7 of these signs. So get your free copy of that. 7 Signs Your People Are Craving Financial Wisdom. It's there for you at pastorsfinancialtoolkit.com/5. I led the Dave Ramsey course, Financial Peace University, for many, many years, and I saw that the fruit that it produced. I mean, it was quite remarkable. But I also saw how hard it was for people to commit to a 9-week course, week after week with homework and doing a budget. And post-COVID, we needed something that was simpler and far more accessible. These 90-minute financial wisdom workshops have been a total slam dunk, especially Sundays after church, where there's high energy, real stories, biblical teaching, and you might be surprised by how many people are hungry for it. Because at the end of the day, it's not about money. It really was never about money. It's about spiritual formation and discipleship. However, I will say that when you get your money right and you have financial peace, you might be surprised by both the emotional and spiritual lift that you get from that. And some people don't even realize that they've been living in a state of financial anxiety for so long until that burden is removed. At the end of the day, teaching financial wisdom is ministry. It's kingdom work, and it's a small yet integral part of what the local church was meant to be. If you care about discipleship and want to learn more, start by downloading 7 Signs Your People Are Craving Financial Wisdom at pastorsfinancialtoolkit.com/5. Next time, we're closing out Season 1 of the Pastor's Financial Toolkit with Episode 6, Pastor's Financial Toolkit Checkup, a practical guide to help you identify where your church is thriving, where you're stuck, and what your best next step could be. So don't miss that. Don't forget to head over to pastorsfinancialtoolkit.com/5 to download 7 Signs Your People Are Craving Financial Wisdom. And if I can help you in any way, feel free to email me directly at scott@seekfirst.foundation. All of our services are free, as you know. And as a pastor, you're doing the real work out there. We're here to support you however we can. Talk to you soon.